This is our presentation for the application for formal acknowledgement of the exercise of priority rights and issuance of corresponding certification precondition of the Erumanen and Menuvu indigenous cultural communities in the province of Cotabato. Their ancestral domain profile shows that it has a total land area of 5,680.6281 hectares more or less. Their ancestral domain is composed of different barangays such as Barangay Kiaring and Barangay Puting Bato in the municipality of Banisilan. Also, Barangay Bentangan in the municipality of Carmen and Barangay Palacat in the municipality of Alyosan, all in the province of Cotabato. And that based on their recent census conducted just March of this year, it has a total of 993 IP household. We started our validation activity with the pre-validation conference conducted last April 17, 2023, followed by the validation proper, community assembly, consensus building period, and then the decision meeting. And only after we received their decision, that was based on their customary laws and processes, that we proceeded with the MOA negotiation. Then we had the MOA review, community assembly for validation of the Memorandum of Agreement, and then the MOA signing last May 18, 2023. The EPR validation team was informed by the community that on February 21, 2023, a community assembly was held in Barangay Bentangan, Carmen, Cotabato at their own initiative and expense with notice to NCIP. This activity was attended by the majority of the heads of the IP households, the members of their indigenous political structure, and the rest of the members of the community. In this community assembly, Engineer Roy Rangaban gave an IEC on IPRA and its IRR and also other NCIP issuances. And the community headed by their IPS also reviewed the population of their ancestral domain, and they discussed the particular natural resource and areas in their ancestral domain they wish to exercise their priority rights on. And the community also tackled that according to their customary law, the decision of the community is reached through the decision of the members of their indigenous political structure. Through the leadership of their IPS and cooperation of everyone in the community, they were able to formulate their EPR plan. And on April 4, 2023, they submitted their EPR plan books in 5 legible copies in the NCIP regional office. Upon review of the EPR plan books, Regional Director Jean-Ann Mondeg-Zoilo issued a memorandum order, the subject of which is validation of the EPR declaration of the Erumanen and Menuvu. On April 17, 2023, the pre-validation conference was conducted in Barangay Poblacion, Carmen, Cotabato. This is to orient the leaders and members of the indigenous political structure about the validation activity that will be facilitated by the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples. Since the ancestral domain is composed of different barangays and sitios, the schedules for the validation activities in the different sitios were also tackled. The indigenous political structure serves as the highest governing body of the Erumanen and Menuvu indigenous cultural communities, and they informed us that even before the mainstream governance of the country and the political structures in the local and national government units were established, they already have their IPS. They also narrated that they are under the leadership of a temuay. This is a title used by the tribal chieftain and other recognized leaders of the community. Traditionally, only men are recognized as temuays, and only those who display ideal characteristics of a leader will be selected through a consultation of the General Assembly. They also discussed that they recognize Kidsadmo or the Kitavod Dato sa Palau Ancestral Domain Management Office as their ADMO, and below the slide is the logo of Kidsadmo, and this serves as a technical arm of the IPS in the implementation of the projects covered by their EPR. This is the CAD map of the Erumanen and Menuvu ICC. In this map, the blue polygon represents the ancestral domain of the Erumanen and Menuvu indigenous cultural communities, and it also shows the burial ground inside the ancestral domain, their residential sites, and the areas wherein the projects or the EPR projects will be implemented. It would also show the Kitavud Range, which is considered as the ritual place of the community, and it also displays the water source of the community, which is in Sitio Gahar and Sitio Kitarayan. This shows the map of the giant bamboo project. So the blue polygon is their canopy perimeter, and then the orange shaded area is where the proposed giant bamboo project will be implemented. And this area covers 2,000 hectares more or less of the ancestral domain. This is the Agarwood map, and the blue polygon represents the canopy perimeter. And if you can see the yellow shaded area, that is where the proposed Agarwood project would be implemented, and it covers 300 hectares more or less of the ancestral domain. This is the map where the palm oil would be implemented or planted. So the blue polygon again represents the canopy perimeter, and the orange shaded area is the proposed site for the palm oil project. And it covers 200 hectares more or less of the ancestral domain. This is the ecotourism map, and the blue polygon is the canopy perimeter, and if you can see the dark green polygon, it is the proposed site for the ecotourism, and this covers 38 hectares more or less of the ancestral domain, and it is located inside the Kitavud Range. These are the names of the recognized members of the indigenous political structure of the Erumanen na Menuvu, and they have Timoy Alfredo Sakayan as the head of the IPS. During validation, the Erumanen na Menuvu indigenous peoples discussed that their priority plans and programs are ancestral domain governance and development, and this may include the enhancement in the establishment of their IPS and their ancestral domain management office. They also want to prioritize culture preservation projects, and this may include IKSP documentation, festivals, schools of indigenous knowledge, and other traditional practices. Another priority program is the livelihood projects and also biodiversity conservation. And in this biodiversity conservation, it would include programs such as establishment of forest guards, reforestation, and rehabilitation projects, and also establishments of nurseries. The community is also in need for health supports such as emergency response vehicle and clinics, and this part of the funding shall cover health priorities depending on the availability of the funds. And they would also allot a part of their income for community savings. The EPR validation team also asked the community members if they are aware and if they understood the community resolution that they submitted deciding to exercise their priority right. And to this question, all the community members and leaders answered in the affirmative. And also they replied and they enumerated the projects that they want to implement inside their ancestral domain. First, they said that they want to implement the giant bamboo project in the 2,000 hectare more or less area in their ancestral domain. And then Agarwood project within the 300 hectares. Palm oil project in the 200 hectares, and also water concession project in the 50 hectares more or less area in their ancestral domain, and then the ecotourism project utilizing the Kitavud Range inside their territory. One aspect of the validation activity is the team asked and authenticated from the community if they do have the capacity to undertake the projects mentioned in their EPR plan. And they answered that they do not have the technical and financial capability and that a partner is needed. So aside from asking them during the plenary, interview sheets were also handed to the community members and leaders, and in this interview sheets, they gave the same response. The same leaders and members of the IPS who made the declaration of their EPR submitted a resolution to the NCIP Cotabato Provincial Office stating that they do not have the technical or the financial capacity to undertake the activities mentioned in their EPR, and that they decided to engage a partner. Specifically, they mentioned in their resolution the Kilambay Plantation Corporation headed by Mr. Jerry Jantaray. After such declaration and following the principles of FPIC, a community assembly was held on April 24, 2023 at the covered court of Barangay Bentangan, Carmen, Cotabato. This activity was attended by the community members and leaders of the different barangays inside the ancestral domain, and the IPS and leaders also decided to invite their proposed partner in this community assembly, and for the proposed partner to meet and know also the other members of the community. So the leaders decided to give Mr. Taray a chance to introduce himself to the community, and he was also given the opportunity to present the personality of Kilambay Plantation Corporation, or known as KPC. Mr. Taray mentioned that he is the president and CEO of Kilambay Plantation Corporation, or KPC, and that it was incorporated in Carmen, Cotabato last July 17, 2019, and he also confirmed that they have the technical and financial capacity to implement the projects mentioned in the EPR plan of the Erumanen and Menuvu indigenous cultural communities. These are the photos during the community assembly, and then the open forum followed the presentation of Mr. John Jerry Taray. And then after that, the community declared that they understood the proposed partnership. And after the open forum, the leaders and the community members decided that they will discuss the proposed partnership first using their customary laws and processes. And the leaders also informed the members of the EPR validation team that they will inform them of their decision on May 2, 2023. On May 1, 2023, the EPR validation team attended the consensus building of the members of the IPS. The EPR team documented the discussion of the leaders, and in that meeting, the leaders weighed on the proposed partnership as well as the benefits that the community would get if they choose to accept the partnership. Afterwards, the leaders submitted their demands to the members of the EPR validation team, and they explained that these demands were reached through the consultation of the community members using their customary processes. Then on May 2, 2023, the EPR validation team facilitated the decision meeting. This was attended by the different leaders and members of the areas inside the ancestral domain. In this activity, the members and leaders also submitted to the EPR validation team their resolution of consent and acceptance of the proposed partner, which is the Kilambay Plantation Corporation, headed by Mr. Jerry Jan Taray. The resolution states that they know that KPC has a good track record and that it has the technical and financial capacity to be their partner in the activities and projects embodied in their EPR plan. The community members and leaders also submitted their community authorization bearing the names of the leaders that they authorize using their customary laws to negotiate and sign the memorandum of agreement on their behalf. Before ending the decision meeting, the EPR validation team assured the community that before signing the memorandum of agreement that it will be validated and explained to the community in the language that they understand, and only then that it will be signed by their authorized signatories. On May 4 and 5, 2003, the MOA negotiation was facilitated by the EPR team, and Mr. Jerry Jan Taray, with a board resolution, represented the Kilambay Plantation Corporation. The EPR team presented the demands of the IPS, and every item on the demand was thoroughly discussed and negotiated. Also, the IPS, the EPR team, and KPC decided to set another schedule to continue the MOA negotiation. On May 9, 2023, the MOA negotiation continued, and an expert was invited to provide further explanation about the carbon trading program. Then, in the afternoon of May 9, 2023, both parties finally reached an agreement on the terms and conditions that will be stated in the Memorandum of Agreement. On May 12, 2023, the drafted MOA was reviewed by another legal officer, and on May 15, 2023, it was explained to the community in a community assembly at the covered court of Barangay Bentangan, Carmen, Cotabato. The EPR validation team explained the contents of the MOA in Visayan and Erumanen and Menuvu languages. Thereafter, the team asked the community if they have further questions and clarifications, to which the community answered that they have none. And the attendees, the members, the leaders of the Erumanen and Menuvu further stated that they understood and support the contents of the MOA, and they know that it was negotiated and signed by their respected leaders and IPS. Then on May 18, 2023, the MOA signing happened inside the ancestral domain of the Erumanen and Menuvu ICCs. And thereafter, the EPR validation team compiled the validation report and its annexes and submitted the same to the regional office. The Memorandum of Agreement is a tripartite agreement. We have the Erumanen and Menuvu ICCs, Kilambay Plantation Corporation, and the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples as the parties. The effectivity is upon issuance of the NCIP and bank resolution formally acknowledging the EPR and issuance of the corresponding CP. It has a duration of 25 years from the issuance of CP and renewable for another 25 years upon written agreement of the parties. The MOA also contains the location and areas inside the ancestral domain wherein the 4 projects will be implemented. As mentioned before, the Giant Bamboo Project would cover 2,000 hectares, Agarwood Project would cover 300 hectares, the Palm Oil Project 200 hectares, and the Ecotourism Project would cover 38 hectares of the ancestral domain. One of the important provisions of the Memorandum of Agreement is Article 6, which states the benefits for the ICC's IPs. Item 1 covers the operational needs of the IPS and the Ancestral Domain Management Office. KPC undertakes to provide the amount of 320,000 pesos every month for operational expenses and 50,000 pesos every month for fuel for these 2 groups. On the year of the issuance of the certification precondition, KPC shall provide 2 units of brand new Toyota Hilux 4x4 to the ICC, and this shall be used by the IPS and the Ancestral Domain Management Office. And also, KPC shall provide 13 units of CRF Honda motorcycle, 12 units will be utilized by the IPS, and 1 unit will be used for the operation of the Ancestral Domain Management Office. On the following year, KPC shall give 12 units of Honda motorcycles and also 2 units of brand new Toyota Hilux to the ICC. This is within 2 years from the issuance of CP. On the year of the issuance of CP, KPC shall also give 4 brand new laptops to the ICC and 2 sets of desktop computers with printer. Also, KPC shall give and install 2 container vans for the use of the IPS and Ancestral Domain Management Office. This shall be installed inside the ancestral domain. The design, area, and positions of this container van shall be decided by the ICC. These amounts mentioned in Item 1 for operational needs shall be deducted from the share in the Agarwood project of the ICC, and the amount advanced shall bear no interest. Item 2 talks about the share and benefits for the ICC on the Giant Bamboo project. As to the land rental, they will be given 2,000 per utilized sector per year for the first 5 years of the project. This is after the issuance of the CP, and on the 6th year, the land rental will be 6,000 pesos per utilized sector per year, plus 2,000 pesos every 5 years thereafter. KPC shall also give 2 pesos per pole to the ICC, and this shall be given every first day of the month. This will serve as the share in the profit of the ICC. Annex M of the Memorandum of Agreement talks about carbon credits, and both parties agreed that on the 6th year, KPC shall provide to the ICC 25% of the KPC share from the sale of the carbon credits. With regard to Palm Oil Project, it's discussed in Item 3. For the land rental, KPC shall give 2,000 pesos per utilized sector per year for the first 3 years of the project. Again, this is after the issuance of the CP. On the 6th year, the land rental will be 6,000 pesos per utilized sector per year, plus 2,000 pesos every 5 years thereafter. As to the trucking needs of the Palm Oil Project, KPC agreed that it shall be supplied by the Ancestral Domain Management Office. And as to the share in the profit, KPC likewise agreed that it will give 15 centavos per kilo of fresh fruit bunch harvested every first day of the month to the ICC. KPC also agreed that within the first 5 years after the issuance of the CP that it will finance the planting of 50 hectares worth of palm oil seedlings inside the ancestral domain. Now, this would also include the fertilizer and it shall bear no interest. The amount advanced by KPC shall be deducted from the land rental payment to the ICC. Item 4 talks about the benefits for the ICC regarding the Agarwood project. As to the land rental, it is 2,000 pesos per utilized sector per year for the first 5 years. On the 6th year, it shall increase to 6,000 pesos per utilized sector per year plus 2,000 pesos every 5 years thereafter. The share in the profit of the ICC is 500 pesos per kilogram harvested. Also, KPC will finance a 6-hectare planting of agarwood with fertilizer, maintenance, and cost of labor inside the ancestral domain. This amount advanced will bear no interest, and this shall be provided within 5 years after the issuance of the CP. Now, this amount advanced by the KPC shall be deducted from the share in the profit of the ICC in the Agarwood project. Item 5 talks about the benefits for the ICC on the ecotourism project. This includes camping areas with toilet and bath, reception area, and view decks, and it shall be improved and developed once the potential of the ecotourism project increases. Both parties agreed that the share in the profit of the ICC shall be 30% of the net profit. Also, both parties agreed that in hiring of porters and tour guides, the Erumanen and Menuvu ICC shall be prioritized. It is stated in the Memorandum of Agreement that the facilities of the ecotourism project shall not be put up inside the sacred areas, burial grounds, and worship places inside the ancestral domain. After the end of the life of the partnership and no renewal is made, facilities and buildings established by KPC for purposes of the ecotourism development project shall be turned over to the ICC. Article 7 discusses the management of profit and benefits received, and it was agreed during the MOA negotiation that only the duly organized Ancestral Domain Management Office of the Erumanen and Menuvu ICC shall be authorized to receive and manage the share in the profit. For this purpose, KIDSADMU or the Ancestral Domain Management Office shall open a bank account with BDO Carmen Cotabato branch. For purposes of withdrawal, a resolution shall be prepared indicating that the IPS head, the Chief Executive Officer of KIDSADMU, and the Admin Finance in charge as signatories. KPC shall not withhold payment of profit and other economic benefits to the ICC by reason of internal conflict among the members of the ICC. With regard to employment and the hiring of workers, KIDSADMU or the Ancestral Domain Management Office shall provide the manpower for the labor, technical workers, and security workforce for the above-described projects. First priority is given to the Erumanen and Menuvu living inside the ancestral domain. Second priority to those living outside. Then third priority to all indigenous peoples living outside the ancestral domain, and fourth priority is to all non-indigenous peoples. For avoidance of doubt, the parties agreed that the hiring and firing of employees in the project remains a management prerogative of KPC. There shall be a renegotiation of the Memorandum of Agreement every 5 years, and also there will be a MOA Monitoring Committee, which is called MMC, composed of representatives from NCIP Cotabato Provincial Office, KPC, and ICC. The MMC shall be responsible for the settlement of any and all disputes relating to the interpretation and implementation of this MOA. The MMC shall meet twice a year on the months of May and November, and the representative from the NCIP shall serve as its chairperson. The creation of the MMC shall be without prejudice to the visitorial powers of the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples. Immediately after the issuance of the certification precondition, KPC shall post a bond in the amount of 2 million pesos. This is to answer for damages due to violation of the terms and conditions of the agreement, which the ICC may suffer and claim from. Article 11 of the MOA discusses the processes for non-compliance and grievance. So the first process shall be the customary laws and practices of the Erumanen and Menuvu ICCs. If unresolved, the complaint shall be endorsed to the MOA Monitoring Committee, and if court litigation becomes necessary, the parties agree to sue and be sued exclusively in the courts of Cabacan, Cotabato to the exclusion of all other courts. The consent of the ICC given shall not be transferable except in cases of merger, reorganization, transfer of rights, acquisition by another entity, or joint venture to any other party. Once this happens, the transferee shall assume the obligations of the transferor. Otherwise, another FPIC will be required. Those are the salient points of the Memorandum of Agreement. Thank you.